Welcome back, my friends, to my channel and another creative video where I will be sharing what it looks like to create 10 different layers in my art journaling process. Something that I love to do, to play, to experiment, to push myself to play with color, texture, and really figure out how I can make those different layers work. But before we dive in, I wanted to take a moment to remind you that my annual early Black Friday studio sale is officially in full swing. Alongside teaching creative classes, I'm always making things behind the scenes, experimenting, painting, stitching, and coming up with new ideas. This year, my shop is filled with handmade pieces that I've created throughout the year, from necklaces to art journals, junk journals, fabric bowls, ornaments, and more. If you'd like to support my work or shop small this season, I'd love for you to take a peek. And as always, thank you for supporting handmade and the creative life that I live over here. I am starting my page like I start most of my blank pages in that art journal with some sort of messy color. And in this particular surface, I am really focusing on those fields of color. Those fields of color are important for me. I am able to incorporate them into the layering process where I can perhaps pick a color or a field of color and focus on a technique, a drawing, a concept within that field of color. So my own journal pages often look really messy like this with lots of different colors, light colors, dark colors, and lots of space that I can play around with within those colors. This is really the first layer for me in just about any art journal page. It's pretty rare you'll find me doing just one solid color because I really love in my own process having all these different spaces and areas to work inside of. For my second layer, we're going to be using those stencils. I really wanted to just use simple things to create some shapes, pattern, or graphic qualities within my layering process. I'm never very interested in getting things crisp, clean, or perfect when it comes to using those stencils. I am just more interested in what I consider surface design or the treatment of the surface that will eventually be peeking through here and there as I continue to add layers. Adding stencils are actually a really quick and easy way to create the illusion of pattern in certain areas, and you're going to notice that I am using those fields of color or those blotches of messy color and adding a different stencil to some of those different areas. I always have my hair dryer or my heat tool on hand so I can work quickly when I feel inspired and I don't have to sit around and wait for paint to dry. So I often will sit for about a minute or two and get things nice and dry, or at least kind of tacky to the touch where I can work over the top of things without anything moving around on that surface. I wanted to add more color and kind of obscure some of those stencils, and so I used my brayer to add a little bit of a color I have not used yet, which is kind of a Kelly green or a grass green. This is really just me fitting in and trying to play around with adding more color to that surface and obscure some of the stuff happening. Now this is my third layer, and I often count in my own process a layer being something that I dry in between. So anytime that I dry something or wait for it to dry and then go into it another time, I'm counting that as a layer. But you could really use a lot of these concepts and techniques all at once. If you trust that they won't blend and blur together, you can really play around with maybe one or two at the same time. For the sake of this video, I am really going into things kind of one at a time within each layer, letting it dry as I go. And for my next layer, I wanted to add some bright white drips. I tend to do a lot of dripping with the color black because it's high contrast, but if I have a darker, more busy, colorful surface like I do here that is a little bit darker, I will go in with a lighter color. Often white is the easiest way to go, and then I've instantly created some white space, literal white space, as well as those vertical drips, which start to add a really interesting quality to that surface. I love a good drip. I don't necessarily drip all over my surface. I will usually pick 1 to 3 places to add a drip here and there and see what I can come up with. Too many drips can often overpower, but I like a few sprinkled on there as a unique way to add something different to that color and to that surface. I am notorious for grabbing something off my table, dipping it in paint, and using it to make a unique impression or mark. I'm just using an old paint-filled cup with dried out paint on the inside to get some bigger circles, and then I'm also going to grab a Crayola Manila marker and dip the cap in paint to get some smaller circles. This can be another way to make marks, to add shapes or interesting impressions on a surface. I love using stamps, but I'm really not the kind of person that tends to use stamps that have a lot of intricate details in a surface like this. I tend to gravitate towards things that I can dip into paint and have just some simple impressions or shapes, or a way to create some repetition or surface design. I treat this process a little bit like I treat my mark making process, where I repeat things and I often attach some sort of meaning to those repetitive shapes that are personal to me and only me. What you can see that I'm doing though is actually sprinkling around very common concepts or techniques. So I have sprinkled around those larger circles, and I am sprinkling throughout those fields of color some areas of those smaller circles. This is a way that I just kind of intuitively create cohesion on my surface. And since I'm working on a spread, I'm working on two different pages, I like to tie the two together. And so sprinkling common things, common elements around is a really quick, easy way for me to do this. And while I was working with wet paint, with dipping things, I wanted to add a few marks with my paintbrush. So I'm obviously picking two, three different fields of color, some darker areas where I can go in with just some marks with that paintbrush. I tend to like to add anything that is within the same supply, kind of in the same layer. So as long as the surface is wet and it's not wet everywhere, I can kind of sneak in some elements here and there before I need to actually hit it with some kind of a drying tool. I'm now heading into my sixth layer, and I'm going into it with that mark making, expressive mark making. And what you're going to notice me doing is really selecting these little areas to create very common elements or marks. So I will go in and repeat maybe white dots in two different areas. I will go in and maybe create dashes in others. And I like to repeat that in at least two different ways. I'm then going back in and doing a little bit of expressive scribbling in this layer just to get some interesting lines and expressive marks within this layer. And this is where that concept of having some fields of color or different color happening within that surface, light and dark elements, really give me, in the way that I enjoy working, the opportunity to play around with a lot of different elements. So while I don't always load on 10 different layers onto a surface, when I am challenging myself to do this, it really forces me to think about contrast, space, where I can get away with adding things, where I need to pull back. And I really enjoy playing around with how far I can take things, even within that mark making process. And you will notice at the end of this layer, I have a lot going on. And so I decided to start to kind of clean up or clear out or even prepare some space for myself by using that paint over or that negative space approach. Now, in this surface, I didn't want to paint over everything. And so I drew out my little branches with leaves and I placed them in a few different areas on my surface. And I am just picking the area around that shape to paint out with the color white. It's going to instantly lighten and brighten up my surface and even tone down a little bit of the busyness. It's also going to give me the opportunity to prepare space if I want to add other techniques. What I love so much about working with acrylic paint is you have the ability to paint things out, paint over things pretty quickly to change that surface in drastic ways. And so if a surface is getting too busy, if I am layering lots of different concepts and techniques, I really enjoy using something like this concept to start to lighten, brighten, and create space for future layers. Again, I'm not always creating 10 layers in an art journal page. I'm more in the anywhere from 3 to 5 layers is kind of my sweet spot when I work in my journal on a daily basis. But if I'm challenging myself to see how far I can take things, I know that at a certain point it's going to get so busy that I can't quite go farther. This is when I will use something like painting over elements or painting out space to continue creating more opportunities and then also hanging on to some of those other areas at the same time. What's fun about a negative space painting or a little paint over like I'm doing here is you still can hang on to some of that background, some of the things happening in that background while painting out and creating new space or even changing the color on that surface. And now for my eighth layer, I am going back in with some of that messy color or creating those fields of color so that I can start setting myself up for some space that I can get a little bit more intricate and detailed in. Now, once again, I like to take inventory. I ask myself, is this an area I'm comfortable painting over? Am I going to feel sad? And those are the places that I will paint over. The ones that remain are areas that I actually really like and I want to hang on to because I like the color or maybe certain elements in that background. For my ninth layer, I want to go over the top of these areas and start drawing some pretty intricate, detailed mandalas. I'm using a circle helix to draw the layers of my circles so that I have something to draw and work inside of. And you'll notice I am selecting those fields of color, those black, messy areas of color as the place that I will actually add these elements. And this is actually one of my favorite things to do in my journal because for me personally, it's relaxing. I like to create some sort of decorative element over the top of a very messy layered background. Sometimes it is this type of design, a mandala, or working with a design or pattern within a circle. Other times I will maybe draw or paint something a little bit more detailed and intricate over the top of these messy layered backgrounds. I really enjoy the push and pull between something that has a lot happening, like this background, like what I've worked on so far with those layers, and then having something that's a little bit more refined over the top. You will notice that really quickly my mandalas will float to the front. They will become the foreground and the rest becomes the background. And the two can work together in a really interesting way. Of course, this surface is going to be incredibly busy with a lot of different elements. And again, I don't always work with this many layers, but I enjoy challenging myself to see how far I can take things and if I can actually pull off even bringing in some more detailed, intricate elements to that surface. Oftentimes, when you have a very busy background, if you add something to the top that's very detailed, they can all get lost in the whole entire surface and kind of mush together visually. And that's why I'm always working with the concept of color and contrast, really staying aware of a push and pull between all those different elements, even if you have a gazillion of them crammed onto one surface. A surface like this for me is actually about creating something that doesn't necessarily have a composition or a focal point. I really like a surface like this that gets treated like maybe surface design, something that could be turned into even a repeat pattern in an interesting way. I love that there's a lot of different elements happening within that background, but the minute I start going detailed over that black paint with my smaller white pen, I create more of a lacy, kind of detailed, embellished effect over the top of all that messy expression in the background. I really enjoy experimenting with this concept, and it's something that I never get tired of in my art journal. I love having these short bursts of creativity, of getting messy and really challenging myself with color, with those stencils, with masks or paint overs, expressive mark making. But then when I actually have more time, I will sit down and actually draw things that are feeling comfortable or relaxing to draw or play around with. Could I pair something unexpected with a messy background like this? And my go-to is usually a mandala design or some sort of embellished design where I can get a lot of fine lines and all those details that I love to do in a lot of my artwork. You'll notice that this surface takes on a completely different look and feel once I draw over the top of those black fields of color. It starts to feel quite bright and light because I have added some of that white paint over, but you still have some of those yummy layers showing through, even showing through in some of those leaf shapes. It's a really fun way to play with all those different layering concepts. And again, while you don't need to layer every single concept on a page, this is actually what it looks like if you want to play around with what that would feel and look like. It's really staying aware of all those concepts in between and around those layers. I couldn't resist going back in with a ninth layer, and that is with dripping. I wanted to add another color in because this was getting a little bit too bright white for me, and I wanted to bring in a pop of color. So I went in with some magenta drips here and there. I love adding a good drip underneath a design, a flower, or a mandala, and I really love letting drips go right over the top of some of my more detailed work. This is just my preference. I don't like to cover things up all the way, but it's a really fun way to treat that surface and play around with those layers, starting to cover up each other without taking away from the different elements. And then once those drips dried, I went in with yet another layer, our 10th layer. So I decided to grab one of my word stencils. I've got a hope stencil, and I wanted to go into some of those white areas and add that hope stencil with that dark teal color. So again, I'm challenging myself to see how far I can take this. Not typically something I do every day all the time in my journal, but for the sake of the theme and working within that theme of layers, I want you to see what a lot of these layers can look like if you keep going and going. And so I really strategically picked areas that were lighter, typically those white areas, to go over with that hope stencil. And then while they're drying within this same layer, I am going in with some of that mark making in and around some of those areas. My goal is not to necessarily add marks to every little field of color or space, but really strategically and intuitively select places that make sense for me and my eye. I don't think there's a right or wrong way to do this. In fact, I say use your intuition to figure out where you might want to add these types of elements. But I find that even adding those marks, if they're expressive or if they're tiny dots, if they're dashes, can often add the illusion of details happening in a surface or embellishment happening. And so I really enjoy finishing off a surface like this, kind of strategically going in here and there to pull and tie things together with either color or smaller elements. I often find that if I have a lot of large elements, if I have a lot of large messy fields of color or pops of color showing here and there, I like to balance that off with maybe tinier details. And for me, that looks like mark making throughout the surface. Again, I'm not looking to add them everywhere, but just sprinkle them throughout the different areas that make sense for me in the moment and my eye. While there are pages in my art journal that I leave quite open and sparse, there are other moments that it's really fun to see how many different concepts and techniques that you can add and layer onto a surface. And the sky is really the limit. I have just shared a handful with you all, but you could use your favorites within that concept of layering. And this is what 10 layers in my own art journal looks like. It's colorful, it's busy, and there is a lot happening. But this is a really fun way to once again challenge yourself to play around with the concept of layering, to get used to covering things up and remaking that surface and really transforming it into something unique. Those art journals are a place where you can constantly add, grow, and change, and they are never ending. There is never a finished stage in my art journal. I often pull one off the shelf and continue to keep working. And I'm hoping that this video inspires you to continue playing with those layers in your own art journals.